Hi, I'm Shayna, and welcome to a special bonus episode of EW's Binge with Schitt's Creek. We have Dustin Milligan here to walk us through some of his favorite episodes to go back and watch, starting with your first episode.
Very first episode.
106, Wine and Roses, your introduction. Tell us what you remember about making that, what happens.
So this was the scene that I auditioned with to get the job, which when you watch it back, you're like, really? This got him the job? Okay.
The good thing is, I don't think that you need an ambulance, David, because what I think is happening here is you're having a panic attack.
Oh no, those aren't real. Those are a PR spin for celebrity publicists. Trust me, I've known enough celebrities.
No, it's absolutely a real thing. Tell me, have you had any experiences lately that have caused you stress or anxiety?
Well, I went from living in a 2,500 square foot Soho live workspace to a motel room with my sister.
Wow, that'll do it.
What was your first impression of David as a character?
I mean, I really liked it. I loved what Dan was trying to create with the family in general, but yeah, with David sort of being this hyper cynical, knowledgeable, but at the same time super kind of ignorant to reality. That juxtaposition I think is really, really funny. You're bringing in like the Hollywood aspect of it all. He does such a great job in that scene.
Season 2, Milk Money. Ted comes back. You went to Mexico without Alexis because she broke off the engagement. You get like the Broken Hearts special. You apparently, we learned later, did a lot of road, like dirt bike tours, right? To try to somehow process your feelings. You seem fine.
Nice bike. Oh my God. Ted?
Alexis!
Believe it or not, it wasn't me driving up on the motorcycle.
Okay.
They had a professional.
Do you know how to drive a motorcycle?
I mean, in theory.
Sure. I mean, who doesn't?
Yeah, it's like, you know, it's a cycle and you motor it.
You
I
don't
got it.
have any
I
idea.
got it. Yeah. Again, I'm an artist, soft artist.
Sure.
But
Do you know how to ride a bicycle?
yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Just checking.
It's been a
we
while.
get to watch David learn how to, and David and Alexis learn how to.
Oh
ride
yeah,
a
that's
bicycle.
right. And he's like, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Yeah.
Safe to ask.
No, but so this is something that Annie and I really loved. If you watch that very closely, right when the bike stops, so Alexis is like, Sheila's like, ooh, who's this bike boy? And then it stops, and then you sort of see the operator of the motorcyclist, of the motorcycle, getting off, but he does this thing where like he kind of like. You can't really see it. Which camera's mine? Is that it? But he sort of like gets off, and before he takes out the helmet, he kind of like does this with his butt a bunch of times. You're gonna cut to this, right?
Yeah,
for sure.
We'll
You'll see
find
it. You'll see it. And
what's he doing exactly to the motorcycle?
I mean, he's
But
enjoying the ride.
That wasn't you.
That
is what you're
wasn't
saying.
me. I wish it was me. I think that's so funny. But yeah, so that was
Was
something
it
that.
intentional? Like, was it deliberate
No.
to be funny? It was just.
No,
like,
it was just like a weird. I don't know what was going on, but yeah, there's definitely some thrusting going on against that leather seat, and Annie and I were dying watching it. That whole thing.
And you get to have some other moments like that. There's like the bunny cam, where you're like, I didn't put that on the list of episodes we're talking about, and now I can't remember why.
Listen, you might want to think about spicing up your approach a little bit.
The bottom line is that I did not go to med school just to exploit innocent puppies as a cover for my extreme vanity.
But people love extreme vanity, and they love puppies, so you have to give them at least one of the two.
I don't know.
Oh, what about the bunnies that we have up for adoption? We can set up like a little bunny cam and stream it live from our clinic. That is very popular with people who hate their jobs or are in loveless marriages.
As you know what I like about that though is that we see in that episode Ted, his insecurity, which I think is a nice layer to the character because he's often you can see him being unsure of himself in relation to Alexis's confidence, her sort of bold, ignorant confidence, and he's unsure of himself. But to actually see him being insecure based on is it Dr. Miguel?
I can't remember. Yeah, I think so.
It's Miguel, I think,
Yeah.
right? But it being about something so superficial as a body, which I think is funny because it shows that Ted and Alexis actually have more in common than one would think.
As an actor, are you like excited to get to play a scene like that, or is it like more like, do you worry more about like having to take your clothes off and having to deal with all of that?
First and foremost, I didn't want to scar those bunnies.
Bunnies seemed fine.
Yeah, I mean, they were okay with it. They had to go through some therapy afterwards. But no, I never enjoy that kind of scene. I think all of us, it's like you don't really want to have to do a scene where it's like, hey, and now your body is a spectacle. But, you know, I understood the comedic angle to it, and I think it was something that was super funny ultimately. But yeah, it's always a little uncomfortable.
In 405, R.I.P. Moira Rose, we get to kind of see Ted, I think, in a much more awkward situation. David and Alexis go out to the farm where then they put together all the pieces and realize that the vendor who they are going to meet with is in fact Ted's new girlfriend, Heather.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because you get to see Ted in this much more, like Ted is usually so confident and is like calm, and like Alexis is the one who's making everything weird, and Ted is sort of just like cleaning it up and sort of going along with it and smoothing it out, which is still kind of what's happening here. But Ted also seems genuinely anxious about the whole situation, right? Like here he is with his girlfriend and also Alexis.
Yeah, with the other woman. So that was actually the last scene that we shot for that entire season. So it was extra fun because it's like, all right, we're gonna be done after this. Yeah, it was interesting because Ted is definitely very nervous and anxious about the whole thing, which I think is indicative of the feelings that still remain between he and Alexis, and him wanting to sort of protect her as much as possible, but also not, you know. But first of all, I think Annie was great in that scene. I thought she did such a great job.
You know, Alexis, I feel like I really need to thank you. Had you not passed along all those messages to Ted, I mean, look what happened.
Because she always is carrying this over-the-top yet grounded character in Alexis, but then seamlessly is able to then show like the true heart, the genuine side of that character, and I think she's throughout the entire series has always done that so well. There was a great bit in that where I did, I don't know if it ever even made it into a behind the scenes thing, but there's all this food on the table and I just did a pun for every single, like there's like 4 cheeses, you know.
Do you remember one?
I couldn't tell you. I mean, I had like.
I'm gonna have to see if we can extract that.
Yeah, like I don't care. It's a breeze to be. I don't know what it was. There's just a bunch of stuff that we did.
There was one that you get in that I think is about the quiche being excellent.
Right, that was a written one.
Yeah.
So that one's great.
If you've ever had her quiche, you can definitely say that it is excellent.
Ted.
And that's
had you go through and rate every TED episode by how good the puns were.
Well, because here's the thing, here's what I'll tell you about the puns. So. Generally on Schitt's Creek, we do not improvise. And so I didn't ask anybody if I could start doing these puns. I just started doing it. But I got the crew to laugh a little bit the very first few times that I did it. And also I would do them a lot, and we had these sort of extra little mini episodes that we would do. And there's one that I did where I'm doing a bunch of animal puns just back to back to back. And so I was making the crew laugh. So it was this thing where I don't know why Dan decided to let me keep doing it, but he did.
Hi. How long have you been standing there?
Long enough.
Yeah, I was just giving them a little pop talk.
And I almost feel like it was a little bit because like the crew was laughing, so I was like, well, I'm gonna let them keep going with this. But so they started writing puns, but if you'll notice, a lot of them are like bad puns, and I know some people out there are saying like all puns are bad. Incorrect.
No, that's not
incorrect.
True. That's wrong.
But a lot of the ones that they were right are bad, which I think was like a way for Dan to be like, okay, I'll let you do the puns, but I need you to know that I think puns are terrible and you're not funny.
Singles Week, season 4, episode 12. I love this episode. I feel like you and like Ted and David get to have like a really serious conversation.
I know that she is different now. I mean, not that different, obviously, but different enough to know that she made a mistake with you. Or was it 2 mistakes?
No, it was just the 2.
Yeah. Anyway, so you've been burned a couple times. Have we met? I've been burned so many times, I'm basically the human equivalent of the inside of a roasted marshmallow. But I think it's important for us to remember that sometimes it does work out.
And, well, that was the only time it was just the two of
Yeah.
us. Yeah.
It's so good. Like, I feel like there's so much of like the emotional heart of the show in that scene where you are talking, you know, like you're clearly, like you reveal that you've actually broken up with Heather, and then he reveals a lot sort of what Alexis is feeling in that way that I think it's both protective as a brother, where it's like he's not gonna exactly betray all of the confidence, but he can tell, like he has the benefit at that point of being in the position of knowing what the two of you are being idiots about and trying to figure out what to do about it, right?
It is the culmination of this will they, won't they between Ted and Alexis. It is that final moment where it's like, yes, finally, they're doing it, it's real. And then, yeah, it is nice because David and Ted are obviously two people who would never hang out together. Well, Ted would love to, but David would never want to spend any time with Ted.
Is there like a whole series of like deleted scenes of like Ted trying to convince David that they could be friends?
Or just all
and
these
they
like
could hang out?
awkward interactions, like at the grocery store and at the general
Trying
store.
to
And
friend
stuff like
David.
that. Yeah. But what's nice is that it's also David talking about and sort of talking through his own feelings for Patrick.
Who has just told him that he loves him.
Yeah, and so
David is
yeah,
away
and
a little bit.
it's nice because it is, I think, for the entire series through these characters, it really is a moment where it's like we're setting it up now. This is where we're going. We're going forward. And yeah, it was really sweet, and I think Dan did a great job in that scene, and it was nice just for he and I to get to do something solo.
And then he eats the dog cookie.
And then he eats the dog cookie.
I assume it wasn't a dog cookie.
Here's something that I'll reveal that I don't think Dan knows.
It was a dog.
So this Facebook group sent us a bunch of cupcakes to the set to Schitt's Creek, and there's a bunch that said like they had little designs on them, like I think for the motel, and but then they also sent these separate ones that were shaped like our dogs. So there was Redmond, there's my dog Daryl. I posted a photo of this cupcake that looks like my dog Daryl, and the Facebook group reached out to me being like, I hope you know that those were 4 dogs. And I was just like, I didn't know that. I didn't actually get to eat them, but I know for a fact that Dan did take a big bite, I think out of one of the ones that were intended for a dog.
But he doesn't know?
I don't think he knows.
Wow, I can't wait to tell him that.
I don't think he knows. I think it was too late. By the time I found out, it was too late. And then I think I was also like, there'll be an appropriate time to reveal this information publicly. And this must be it.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
EW exclusive.
I mean, I'm sure it was human safe.
Sure.
Yeah, it wasn't like there was anything weird in there.
No.
But it just,
It's just life imitates art. You pretend to eat a dog cookie, and then you get to eat a dog cupcake.
That's how committed to the craft he is.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's also a good scene at the end of that episode.
Hi. I'm Ted. I'm newly single. And I'd be kidding myself if I told you that I haven't wanted to do this every single day for the last 2 years.
Do what?
You come into singles week, you sit down and you have this like grand gesture of a moment with Alexis and tell her how you feel amidst all of these singles who are like speed dating each other.
One of whom is our executive producer, Dave West Reed, who's the one who tries to kiss Twyla right after. That's our actor. He's one of the head writers and the executive producer. Super funny guy, and that was a super funny moment. But yeah, no, we had this finally this climactic, culminatory. That's a word. Moment where we finally have this big romantic kiss and this Ted kind of revealing that he feels the same way, and I really loved shooting that. That was a big, exciting scene to shoot. Anytime I watch myself kissing somebody, I'm always like, why are you stretching your neck out so far? It's like, if you watch that, because you're going to cut to this, right? You'll see I'm like stretching so far out.
Why were you?
Because that's my style.
Is that how you normally kiss, or was this like a blocking
Well, I
situation?
think it is how I normally kiss.
You're
I think,
just not used to seeing it.
Yeah. It's just when you see it out loud you see it like in third person, you're just like, oh my God, like that's horrific. Throughout the entire series, Alexis is always wearing like super tall platform shoes, and I am a confident 5'10.5".
important
but I'm not.
package.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
But I'm not. You know, I'm not like a 6 foot.
And how tall does she like net out in heels? Like she's pretty tall. Anyway.
She's shorter than me. She's only like 5'7" or something. But then
Okay.
she's always in at least like 3-inch heels or something. So she's usually taller than me by the time it all works out. So several of those, you can kind of see it where it's like I'm actually looking up at her. And then some of them I'm actually on like what's called an apple box, like a quarter apple or a pancake. Let's be real, it's a quarter apple, just to even that out. So not only am I craning my neck forward like some kind of ungodly giraffe trying to kiss her, but also I'm propped up because, yeah, not actually tall enough for that to be even.
You managed not to fall though.
Yeah.
So good job.
Yeah. While I was falling for her, I didn't actually fall.
Let's talk about housewarming.
Drunk Ted.
Drunk Ted is the best. Like, not something we've really ever gotten to see of Ted, right? Like, at his most, like, loosened up and funny, he's telling puns. Like, he's not...
Yeah. At his most loose, he's talking about how he was on a hacky sack team in college.
You were right, we deserve a night out. So I just pushed all my morning appointments, which will be fine, I guess. Just means that I'll be staying up till 1 a.m. on a Saturday, spaying with a pretty shaky hand.
It's so cute. What can I get you to drink?
Oh no, don't worry about that. After you used all of my booze for your punch, the only alcohol left in my fridge was a few of your rum raspberry coconut coolers. So I just polished them off, and it tasted like burnt plastic, and I regretted it instantly.
Only you would wear a little robe and little slippers to a high school slumber party.
Oh no, this is just so that I didn't get cold on the way over. All right. What is the game? Because I'm up.
So this is the housewarming party at Patrick's new apartment, and Ted is almost too responsible to even come because he has so many things to do the next day. He doesn't want to be out late.
Yeah.
Which is more responsibility than like anyone in the Rose family, I feel like, has ever felt for anything
Indeed. Yeah.
put together.
Yeah.
You show up finally in your like Hugh Hefner type robe, get super drunk, play a little spin the bottle, make out with David. And then everyone gets mad. Everyone's respective boyfriend or girlfriend is super not pleased about this.
Yeah.
What can you tell me about this scene/episode?
I loved shooting that. That's probably, in terms of like getting to just be as big and funny as I wanted to be, that was probably my favorite scene in the entire thing. Playing drunk is very hard, so it's tricky, and you're being very mindful not to be too sloppy or whatever. Yeah, this was something where, I mean, a bunch of it got cut, but I was like yelling shit out the entire time that was not scripted.
Like what?
Just a bunch of stuff, like even when I first walk in and I like take off the robe, and I don't know if they kept it in, but I walk over, I see Cara Delevigne, Twyla. I just remember saying like, Twyla, you look great, and like just like little things like that. But so originally the line was they were like Jello shots, right? But they had to be like, these are party shots. But originally they were like, do you want some Jello shots? And I was like, Jello? Yeah, I do. And then I just remember, yeah, when I kissed Dan, I just remember like first time I've ever kissed a man, and I just remember being like, wow, this scruff fucking hurts.
Beard burn right off the
Yeah,
bat.
and there was actually one point where like I feel like one of his, because Dan's like, you know, the Levies, they're a hairy, Dan and Eugene, I should say. Sarah is not this way, but they're a hairy bunch, and like thick and black hair. And I just remember like one of them, it almost felt like it punctured my skin, where I was just like, oh my God, I'm gonna be bleeding from this kiss.
How many times did you do that kiss?
We did it. There was probably like 4 or 5, and then Dan was like, "Let's do another 4 or 5," which it's his show.
Sure.
But I do remember there was one time where the line is like, "Come here, big guy," and then I think one time I accidentally said like, "Come here, big boy," and so I had to do it again. Yeah, it was. We did several takes of that. But it's an important moment. But I was bummed because the one that ended up making it, if you look at it, it's like both of my lips are kissing just his upper lip.
Okay.
So I kind of
I feel like it could have been a better cut.
It could have been better. We should have done more takes.
I appreciate how carefully you've studied this. Thank you for doing your homework.
Well, you know, I mean, this is EW. I'm not messing around.
All right. Well, thank you so much. That was more than 5 episodes. It was like bonus on top of bonus that we ended up talking about. So thank you for joining us for EW's Binge with Schitt's Creek, giving us your favorite episodes. Dustin, thank you so much.
My absolute pleasure.